All right, Troy. We have another edition of Those Guys Sports Podcast, not your average sports podcast. Troy, how's it going?
Man, everything has been going good. Chris, I'm glad that you're finally able to join us since you decided to take off the last segment whenever we had our first guest appearance by
You're never gonna let that go, huh?
no, I'm not. And I told him before the show too. I'm like, man, I'm gonna give Chris a hard time on this one. So, but shout out to Aiden. I know his team came up big
Yes.
past weekend. They I believe they won like 42 to like 17 or something big. But man, they're gonna make a run at the NAIA playoffs. So good luck to him and the rest of his season. And I appreciate him coming on the show. I think he was an awesome first guest. I think he gave us a good insight of kind of what it's like to be NAIA athlete right now.
Exactly, Troy. It was a great segment. I mean, you had really good questions. I was fascinated with Aiden's answers. Just overall a great show. Troy, I want to ask you. Um, I know you and Aiden had really good times on the podcast, but was there one specific moment or one specific question that really stuck out to you?
Um, Man, not really. I will say the moment that probably stuck out the most was I had probably the most fun before the show,
Mhm.
before we actually started recording, because to like kind of what I explained before, I reached out to him, kind of just threw a Hail Mary up there, sent him an email, and just kind of responded to some of his videos that he's been posting, and he reached out to us and wanted to come on the show. Now that was my first time really meeting with him and talking with him. So we had a pretty cool, like 15, 20 minutes of just conversation, just about, football, kind of a little bit about my background, his background, and kind of just learning a lot from each other. That's kind of where I had the most fun with it. And I wish I could have showed you guys that, but it's different when you're trying to, prep for a show and get ready for all that. So we will bring him back on, I think, eventually, either next year or during the off season. But he was pretty happy about it and he had a good time. You know what? Actually, my favorite part about that whole segment was when he started recording. I thought that was actually pretty cool, and he added it to one of his videos that he uploaded a couple days later. So be sure to check that out.
No, really cool moment, Troy. That was really fun when I watched the ending of it. So awesome, awesome. Switching gears, Troy. So let's talk about the current firings in college football, as well as potential firings that are resignations that we will see upcoming, Troy. So, Troy, wow. Billy Napier, Brian Kelly, James Franklin. I'm sure there's more to come. I'm thinking maybe a Luke Fickle or
Yeah,
potentially a Dave Aranda.
yeah, man. It's kind of bizarre because there's going to be a lot of big vacancies this offseason, so college football is getting kind of interesting. But man, even like going past like the coaches, I mean Scott Woodward over there at LSU, the athletic director that hired Brian Kelly, he got fired
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So that just goes to show you how much money, time, and people are invested into college football, especially at that level, which is kind of bizarre, right? Because when we think of like college football, we just think of Saturdays, tailgates, college game day, stuff like that. And man, it just goes to show you that there's so much more being invested into this sport. So yeah, it's wild, man. And I think Steve Sarkisian said it best though. Someone's got to coach these teams, right? Who are you going to hire?
Exactly.
So who are the big name people out there? Because if you think about it, you're losing those old generation of coaches that the Nick Sabans, Urban Meyers. You're losing all those guys that were legendary coaches. So now it's time for these younger guys to fill in these roles. But he was also talking about job security too. The reason
Yes.
why that these coaches have such a big payout for their contracts is because they want that job security. They want to be there. They want to coach. And man, it's just kind of crazy to see that, especially since the playoffs started, people are so quick to just be done with a coach. And if you're not making the playoffs your second year, uh,
Yeah,
the school's pretty much done with you at that point.
exactly, Troy. I know somebody that's definitely getting fired, and if not, there must be a miracle out there for them. Troy, I'm thinking Mike Loxley. He has to go.
You think so?
Yeah, I think one more bad loss, Troy. Get him
Yeah,
out of there. He's had years to prove himself in
yeah. And
Maryland. They don't do anything significant.
yeah, no, and I guess I'm used to like the old Mike Loxley, the New Mexico Mike Loxley, where they were winning like one game. Um, I thought early on when he took over Maryland, he did a really good job of like getting that program okay. Especially getting them to a couple bowl bids, and they won a couple bowls under him. But yeah, now I think they're kind of starting to just stall out. But yeah, Maryland's one of those programs, man, where they've kind of invested into their infrastructure and trying to get that program running again. So, and being in the Big Ten, if you're not competing and you're not putting up the numbers, man, they're not going to keep you around. So, but yeah, Loxley's he's been around for quite some time. So we'll see what happens there.
Exactly. I'm gonna throw two other names at you, Troy, and I want your thoughts on it. What do you think of Mike Norville at Florida State? And what do you think of Mark Stoops at Kentucky?
Man, I think both those guys need to be out of there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think those are going to be probably the two next biggest firings you see. Um, Mark Stoops, he's been at Kentucky. I don't know how long. Like it's been over
He's
eight
been there for
years.
a while.
Yeah, it's been some time, man, and I think that program needs to go a different direction. Uh, Mike Marvel as well, man. I'm not a huge Florida State fan, if I'm being honest, but I was. He did really good things when he was at Memphis. Um, but man, I don't see him turning around that program at all. And I know a couple years ago they were a little bummed out that they didn't make the championship, or whatever, and or they didn't make the playoff. But I'm like, man, like you guys lost one of your guys' play. There's no way you guys are competitive, and you're kind of starting to see that. I mean, now they're not very competitive at all.
Exactly. Well, they had an exciting week one, right?
Yeah, yeah, they knock out Bama week one, and I mean they look like they're going to do something, and I mean they've just completely stalled out. And I think we were all shocked that Bama lost that week too. I don't think any of us were expecting that.
Exactly.
Um, Chris, let me ask you: has there been a firing that you haven't liked?
Um, no. I mean, I like James Franklin as a person and a
Yeah,
motivator, but I mean, I think if you're a Penn State fan, you're ready for them to go to the next level, and it's hard because how many coaches could get in there and win 9 to 10 games a year and be that consistent?
yeah,
I mean, but at the same time, if you are a Penn State fan, you're like, hey, I want to finally break through. I'm tired of getting knocked out in the first or the second round of the playoffs or losing in the Big, 10 championship or, kind of being the little brother of Michigan and Ohio State, right?
yeah,
And I think they're just ready to break out. And so I understood it. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to replace James Franklin, but I mean, I understood it. Billy Napier, like him too, but I understood that.
yeah.
Brian Kelly, you knew since the beginning of the season I've been calling for his firing. I just never liked him. I just felt
Man, odd fit, and yeah, I think you mentioned that early on. Yeah, he's always been an odd fit. I was going into the season optimistic, especially like a big win over Clemson, but now we're starting to see that win over Clemson wasn't all that impressive. Um, Man, it's just college football is weird these days.
like
I
Troy. I knew Brian Kelly was weird when he when he was hired to LSU and he started developing a Southern accent. It's like, dude, you're not
yeah.
from the South.
Yeah, man, and that was definitely a cringy moment. Now, once again, as an LSU fan, like you try to be optimistic going into each season, right? And even when they hired him, I didn't care for Brian Kelly when he was at Notre Dame,
Yeah.
and man, I was really trying to buy into like what he was selling and thinking that they could go to the playoffs, make the championship, but that just wasn't the case. Yeah, he definitely needed to go. Um, so I just don't know who you bring in honestly at this point. Um, my hopes are that would be cool to see Nick Saban come out of retirement, but his and officially end his career at LSU. But he's always talked about how he's regretted leaving LSU. So you never know, man. That's going to attract a lot of people. LSU is just one of those jobs that it's just going to bring a lot of big names, and I'm just not sure who you go after. I will say this, Chris, and who I think would be a great fit at Oklahoma State. Once again, I love Gundy. I think he did a fantastic job out there, but it was time for him to go too. Like it was time. Um, but man, you bring a Jason Eck to Oklahoma State,
You and Jason Eck, huh?
dude. Have I not been talking about this guy since he was at Idaho? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's been a minute. So, and people once again they didn't know what the hell I was talking about half the time. But now everyone, it gets me frustrated because when I'm on Twitter looking, everyone's all talking about Jason Eck. I'm like, dude, I started this whole Eck train. So, you know, um, man, I could see him fitting in well, like at an Oregon State, Oklahoma State. Honestly, he's gonna get his shot, man. I know people are paying attention to him right now. They had a big win over UNLV, and I know people are like UNLV, that's a big win. Yeah, because they were ranked a couple weeks ago. They've been pretty. They're ranked number 2 in the conference. They've done pretty well with that program. So. Um, Man, yeah, that was a big win for them. They're bowl eligible, first time being bowl eligible in quite some time. Um, I think the last time they're bowl eligible was like 2019. I think I could be wrong on that, but he's got them rolling, and I think they could win out. Honestly, they got Air Force, Colorado State, and who else they have on their schedule? They got they have someone else who's winnable. So, man, they can make some noise in the Mountain West for sure.
Exactly. Um, Troy, and I know you had mentioned, a potential name for some jobs. I don't know if he'll get I don't know if he'll get picked up by an LSU or a Penn State, but I think somebody that's going to make a lot of noise is Charles Huff at Southern Miss. I know you were talking about
Yes.
him, right?
Yeah, no, man. He's done really well with that program because I want to say last year they won like 1 or 2 games, and man, who knows? He's gonna get picked up somewhere. He's gonna get a shot. So that wouldn't be a bad hire as well. Now, I will say this, Chris. A lot of people don't understand. It's not just about the head coach. You have to have a phenomenal staff right now.
Yeah.
Um, Look, I like Clark Lee over there at Vanderbilt.
Vandy.
I think he's a good coach, but he has some really good coaches, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Whenever Jerry Kill was at New Mexico State, he had a really good staff. So, um, man, like their offense coordinator Tim Beck, who's at Vandy right now. I mean, he was perfect for that system. He brought the players that he needed for that system, and that's why they're having the success they are now. So because I know Clark Lee's name has been mentioned on some of these big jobs out here, um, I don't know. I don't like. I like what he's doing at Vandy, but I mean I wouldn't care to see him like get picked up by like LSU or anything like that.
Of course. Well, Troy, let me ask you, what about Tim Beck? Do you think he would be a good head coaching pickup, or do you think he's just a better coordinator?
Man, I like him as a coordinator. If I'm being honest, I
Yeah.
I think he's a great offensive mind, but I think he would be a very good head coach. And people are going to say that I'm silly for this, but he was a very good head coach at the Division II level. He won a national championship with Pitt State, the Gorillas. Um, man, and when you get guys that are able to win at that level, because it's hard to win at the D2 level, it's hard to go to the playoffs and win a national championship because there's so many teams. It's just harder to get in the playoffs. But he did it at that high level, and he has, a lot of ties with recruiting. The whole Midwest area, he recruits that area very well. But I mean, just his relationship with coaches in general. I mean, people know that he's a legend in this sport. So I think he would be able to put together a pretty solid staff.
Exactly, I agree. No, that's an interesting name, Troy, and I want to see if somebody takes a flyer or if he just remains a coordinator. So
Yeah.
good stuff, Troy.
People don't realize this, but whenever it was like written in the contract, if Jerry Kill like had to like resign or leave or for whatever reason, Tim Beck was supposed to get the head coaching job at New Mexico State. So,
Okay.
so a lot of people don't understand that, but Tim Beck was the one that left at Vandy and then got Coach Kill out of there because Coach Kill was going through some health issues. It wasn't that he was trying to leave because he wasn't going to get paid. NMSU found the money to pay him, but that year he was kind of struggling with, I think, the epilepsy thing.
Oh wow. Okay, that's some good insights, Troy, because I never really knew why Kill left. I just thought maybe he got more money being a because what is he? He's not a coordinator, Troy. He's an analyst, right?
And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a money thing, but thank you for giving those insights. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, man. He actually, yeah, Tim Beck was supposed to get the head coaching job, and it just didn't work out that way. I mean, he got a better opportunity at Vandy and took Kill with him, and I think it was a better job. It was a better job for Kill just because, I mean, man, he's been dealing with that epilepsy for quite some time. And I'm about to blow a lot of people's minds away right now. So
Let's hear
before
it.
NMSU beat Auburn, NMSU's last biggest win against like a Power Five team was against the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
I remember that game when he had the seizure on the field right
Yep.
at the end of the
And
game.
guess who the head coach was? It was against Jerry Kill.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that final drive, he had a seizure, and that's kind of when I started following up with Jerry Kill, honestly, just because I remember watching that game on TV. Because back then, I mean, when you saw an Aggie game on TV, it was kind of cool, right? You were like, oh crap, it wasn't like as accessible like it is today. But he had an ugly seizure on the sideline, and it kind of freaked a lot of people out. And man, I just remember like kind of really worried about the guy and just following up with his coaching career and wanted him to have success. And he ended up leaving Minnesota a couple years later just because the epilepsy got so bad. So when he came to New Mexico State, it kind of shook my world a little bit. I'm like, wow, and that was my biggest concern was just like how was he going to handle it being sick and stuff. But man, did a fantastic job, and I think he gave a lot of fans like hope. So it definitely sucks not having him, but it wasn't. And I want people to understand it wasn't a money thing. It was 100%, a health issue. So
Yeah, no, I mean, and of course, shout out to Jerry Kill bringing New Mexico State to national prominence, 10-win season. So we definitely, even though his time here was short, we definitely appreciate his efforts, right?
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
So
All right, Troy. Well, moving forward, something that I want to get into is, Troy, what are some bubble teams right now that you think can sneak into a bowl game? I'll give you one, and then I want to hear some of your thoughts. Hear me out, Troy. Even though the record looks bad, I have some confidence maybe Colorado State could win out or at least get 5 wins. What do you think?
oh man, Colorado State just fired their head coach. I don't know. Their offense just has not looked good at all. I don't anticipate them going to a bowl game or winning out. I'm trying to pull up who they have on the remainder of their schedule. But yeah, I just don't see them pulling anything out right now. They still play UNLV, which UNLV is going to be pretty hungry right now. They're sitting at 2-6. They have to win 4 games in a row to be bowl eligible. They got UNLV, they got UNM, they got Boise, and they got Air Force. That's going to be tough. I just don't see them. I see them maybe going up winning against Air Force, and I think they'll finish their season. Yeah, I think they'll get 3 wins
No,
this year.
Troy, you have no confidence in Tyson Summers as the interim head coach.
Man, I do, but I think they're too far gone right now, in all honesty. So,
Troy, I'm taking a bold leap on this, Troy. I'd take a win out and go to a bowl.
man, yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. Like I said, I've always liked Colorado State. I've always enjoyed them. I've always enjoyed watching them play and stuff, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
Um, One team that is getting hot right now, Chris, I will say San Jose State.
Okay.
They've been playing teams really tough. They ended up beating UNM, which UNM was, they were kind of on a little hot streak there for a second. So they do play Air Force, Nevada, San Diego State, and Fresno State. But I think they're playing some pretty good football right now, and they just need 3 more wins. I see Air Force being a win and Nevada being a win, and they're going to have to steal one from either San Diego State or Fresno State, which I guess you can consider those pretty much rivalry games.
Okay. So that's who you have. How do you feel about How do you feel about UTSA, Troy?
You know, they surprised me, Chris, against Tulane. I was not expecting them to just dismantle Tulane. Now, in a way, I did see it coming just because Tulane's head coach is being talked about and getting one of these, these top positions that are available right now, either at LSU, Florida. His name's been thrown around. Um, so I wasn't expecting it, but at the same time, I could see it happening. And yeah, UTSA, they came out there, they took care of business. Now, UTSA, I think they still have a little ways to go. I think they won 4. I think they're sitting at 4 wins right now. So I don't know. The American's a little bit more challenging, I think, than the Mountain West. I don't know. What do you think about that? They still have UCF, or they have South Florida, Charlotte,
East
and
Carolina and Army.
so that's going to be tough. I don't know. I mean, the Mountain West and the American, they're very similar, but I think it's harder to squeeze out a couple more wins in the American.
Sure. Yeah, and they've been up and down this year. I mean, didn't before they beat Tulane, didn't they get like destroyed by North Texas?
Yeah, man, they've been very hit or miss, but
Yeah.
they need 2 wins right now. So if they could beat either Army, let's see, trying to figure out if they beat Army and Charlotte, I mean they'll be in good shape. But um, you know, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be able to do it or not. So
Exactly. And I guess for my final one, Troy, I'm just gonna take a safe pick, Arizona. I know Arizona's gonna get a couple more wins, so they'll be fine.
yeah, dude, Arizona actually looks really good this
Yeah.
past weekend against Colorado. So I mean, they're playing fast, but they are one of those teams that's just so inconsistent. So
Exactly.
you never know which Arizona you're going to get. It's kind of like
Exactly.
the Cowboys playing the Cardinals. I mean, man, everyone was talking about how the Cowboys are just going to go off, and dude, Cardinals came out, smacked him in the face. So
Yeah, they have
uh,
been. They
hey,
have been kind of off this year.
yeah, it's weird. But speaking of the American Conference, man, I actually worked the Temple and University of Tulsa game. I will say, very fun game to watch. I wasn't expecting much, but 2 teams that are struggling. Well, Temple's kind of has a better. I mean, they have a winning record right now, but um, they weren't very competitive last year. TU struggling. However, that game was awesome. Man, it went into overtime. The weather was perfect. It was cloudy. It started raining towards the very end. And when it went to overtime, man, it got intense. It was awesome. Both teams went ahead and put in a touchdown. TU decides to go for it at the very end, go for a 2-point conversion. And, man, the play that they had, their tight end, who was just lighting it up the entire time, he was lined up in the backfield, acting like he was going to run it in, like out of like a wildcat formation, and try doing like a little jump pass to the running back in the backfield or in the end zone.
Yeah.
Wide open, but it just got batted down, man.
Oh no.
Man, it was wild. So fun time. So I had a blast. But Chris, also Kansas needs one more win, and I really hope they get it. It's going to be challenging because they still got Arizona, Utah, and Iowa State. So it's going to be very hard for them to get that last win, but it'd be nice to see them go back, go bowling again.
Exactly. Yeah, it would be nice to see Kansas get back to a bowl, and they've been quiet this year, so
Yeah.
I'm ready for them to be a prominent program again. They had a few years ago, they were looking really good, and then I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think last year, once again, they were working on their new stadium, and they played all their games in Kansas City. So, man, when you don't have that home field advantage, or like when you're constantly on the road, it takes a toll on you. And that's what I'm going to blame Sam Houston State's. That's what I'm going to blame their game on, or their record on, is just having to go to Houston every week, even for a home game. Just because I know that they're a better team, and when they get their home field back, I guarantee you they're going to get a couple wins and they're going to be competitive again. It's just hard to visualize that when you're constantly on the road. And obviously, they're not a good team right now offensively. I think, once they lost to UTEP, I think they've completely given up. So I think this next year they'll do okay. But
Exactly.
But not having a home field, man, I think it'll really mess with your season.
It will. You don't have your fans. You don't
No.
have that comfort of knowing your locker rooms, knowing the lay of the land. I agree. Uh, Speaking of home field, Troy, let's talk about those darn Aggies. Oh my goodness, Troy,
Dude,
they
I,
are
I
frustrating right now.
I think I've watched like 3 very frustrating losses. One, they should have beat Liberty, right? And then 2, they've also should have beat Missouri State, in my opinion. I thought they were the better team than Missouri State. But, man, offensively, they have been struggling. And I can't even blame the defense for, giving up a touchdown at the last minute or whatever the case may be. Because, man, the offense is not doing its job by keeping the defense off the field. So the longer your defense has to be out in the field playing defense, they're going to get tired. They're going to get worn out. They're going to give up points, and they're going to give up big plays. And if they're out there long enough, they're going to give up those big plays at the wrong time.
Exactly, and their offense is very predictable. I mean, the
Dude.
run game looks okay at times, but it's very inconsistent.
Yeah.
So most teams know, okay, Logan Fife's going to have to play hero ball and start chucking it up, and then he gets picked off because he's trying to force it. And we are a very predictable team.
Yeah. Man, I have not been too impressed with the offense, and I feel like it's been regressing since that Liberty game. Sam Houston looked great, and that's kind of like our peak, right? But man, this last game against Western Kentucky, it had to have been the most frustrating game that I've watched, just because Western Kentucky is like the top of the conference right now, and you have the Aggies going out there competing. Defense is making plays. They're getting stops. They're doing what needs to be done, right? And then the Aggies, we can't finish drives. We're stalling out. We're kicking field goals. Man, field goals it's not going to win in this league. So it's not going to
They're
win.
not.
You ain't going to win any conference games, but just kicking field goals. You have to get touchdowns when you're that close to the end zone. And man, it just hasn't been there. Like you said, they've been so predictable on offense. The run game is just not there, and the offensive line is playing very poor right now.
Exactly.
They're getting no push. They're not picking up blitzes. Fife is running for his life. If Fife is running for his life, he's making terrible decisions. And don't get me wrong, Fife has had some bad luck with some interceptions. There's some that have bounced off receivers' hands or have been tipped at the line of scrimmage and things have been picked off. But man, it has been terrible to watch. However, I will say this, Chris, and I think you could agree with me on this. We have seen some terrible Aggie programs in the past.
We
We have
have.
seen some teams that were just not good. This team is good. They just gotta get it together offensively. Because if they got it together offensively, they would already be sitting at like 6-2.
Exactly.
You
No.
know what I mean? Like they would. That's where they would be right now if they just got it together offensively. So, but if they keep going in this direction, Chris, I'm a little concerned that they're not going to beat UTEP. And hell, I'm concerned they're not going to beat Middle Tennessee because they just don't have that offense to keep scoring. So it seems like if you score more than 17 points, you're kind of SOL.
I agree, Troy. Yeah, I really want them to get it together because they have good bones, like you
Yeah,
said. Like
yeah,
there's some really good things that are happening, but again, putting it together so that you can win on Saturdays. And unfortunately, they're 3-5 when they could be 5-3, potentially 6-2. Um, Troy, what word do you think better describes them? Disjointed, or as of recent, abysmal?
Um, I'm just gonna stick with inconsistent. So,
Inconsistent.
yeah, just inconsistent, man. Offensively, like they, they got to show something a little bit more offensively, man. Like you would hope. Unfortunately, I kind of saw a little bit of this going into the season just because I was following up with the spring game and stuff, and they weren't putting up as many points as I would like to see. But um, man, we just gotta wait and see. I think next year, Chris, and I'm a firm believer in this. I'm still like when these small programs, these small schools, you still have to give them time to develop. Um, once again, Jerry Kill's first year, they went to a bowl game. They were, close around this time. They were like 1-5.
Okay.
Um, so, there's still time to kind of get it turned around, but that needs to happen these next three games. They're gonna have to steal one against Kennesaw State, man. That's a must win at
Yeah,
this point.
exactly.
Kennesaw State's a must win. Kennesaw State is balling out right now. They have to win against UTEP and they have to win against Middle Tennessee. Those are your three games to get bowl eligible. You needed Missouri State and you needed to steal one early on from Liberty to be in a good position right now. But man, now you're do or die because Tennessee, they got to play Tennessee this year. And I'm an optimistic fan, but I'm not that optimistic. I don't see that win. I'm also realistic. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, okay. I'm optimistic too, Troy. I think they could get three. Um, with that being said, Troy, let's move to the FCS playoff race, Troy. What are some teams that you feel like are going to run through the playoffs, and then what are some teams that you think might sneak into the playoffs?
Man, I was actually surprised with this last week. Abilene Christian because they knocked off Tarleton State, who was ranked number 2 in the FCS. Now, Tarleton State, we talked about early on in our shows. Man, I was pretty big on them winning the whole thing, and I think they're going to be the next FBS school, if I'm being honest. But man, they got beat up a little bit by Abilene Christian. So pretty good, two good Texas schools, man. Two teams that used to be in the Lone Star Conference when they were Division II. So that just shows you that how good the Lone Star was at one point. But man, I was really impressed with that performance, and we'll see how everything kind of works out. I'm trying to go through some other scores right now, but man, one team that we don't hear much about is Richmond. they have a pretty cool logo, the Richmond Spiders. So, um, they were always, I think they're always going to, they're 4-4 right now. I think they could possibly sneak in to the playoffs if they win out. But yeah, it's going to take some time for them. Also, Idaho. Idaho is one of those schools that I follow up with just because at one point they were FBS, and then you have to see them go back down to FCS, which is crazy. It's never really heard of. Um, they found some momentum. They've won two big games in a row. They beat Portland State and they beat NAU this past weekend. So who knows what happens there if they win out. The playoff committee, they love the Big Sky. So those Big Sky schools, man, I would say the Big Sky is probably one like the best FCS conference in my opinion.
Speaking of the Big Sky, Troy, what are your thoughts on Northern Arizona? Do they sneak into the playoffs?
Man, I would like to see them sneak in the playoffs. I like NAU. I like the Lumberjacks. So they have a really good defense. So funny story, their defensive coordinator was the head coach at Western New Mexico whenever I was there, Adam Clark. So I want to see him do good. I want to see him succeed, and so hopefully they sneak in the playoffs and they make some noise. I know NAU is doing a lot better than they have in the past, so it seems like they found a good routine. Hopefully, they keep the momentum going. I know they had that slip up against Idaho, but I think they'll finish out the year strong.
Okay, Troy. What about UC Davis?
UC Davis, honestly, I don't know too much about UC Davis right now, but I know that they were ranked pretty high early on in the season. I will say though, I was kind of taken back by Cal Poly this last weekend. They gave Portland State their first win of the season. So Cal Poly isn't overly impressive right now, but they did. They do have a 3-5 record. But yeah, they went ahead and lost to Portland State, who was 0 for 8 going into this week, and they ended up losing 40-35.
Wow. See, what do they say, Troy? Any given game, right?
Yeah.
Any given Sunday, but you never know when somebody brings their A game and gets a win,
Oh yeah. Yeah. No man.
or if your team is going to have a huge letdown. Either way,
Yeah.
Troy. Well, let me ask you this: Do you think there's any team strong enough to beat Montana or North? Is it North Dakota?
Yeah. North Dakota State.
Yeah,
And I will say, like Montana or North Dakota State has been Montana's
Achilles heel.
Achilles heel. Yeah, for sure. So I do think North Dakota State could always beat Montana. However, man, Montana's playing some good football. They're 8-0 right now. They've taken care of business. They've had a couple close games, but they've been playing good football. And around this time, they play outside. So they play in the snow. They play in the elements. It's going to be cold. Believe it or not, North Dakota State doesn't. They play in the Fargo Dome. So it just all depends, man. It depends on the elements outside. We'll see. I think they're both two physical teams, and I think just depending on where they're seated, you could probably see a Montana and North Dakota State national championship, which will be played in Texas. How funny is that?
Wow.
You
Well,
get
Troy,
two
you
northern
forgot
teams
about.
coming all the way down to Texas to play. So
Well, Troy, you forgot about one team that might disrupt all of that. The Lehigh Mountain Hawks.
man, no, I don't think they're going to be making too much noise. So I want to say they're ranked though, right?
Yeah, Troy, they're having a great year.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be making too much noise in the playoffs, though. I think they're going to get knocked off pretty quick.
Troy, I know the team that you're secretly rooting for is the Tarleton State Texans.
Yeah, man, I want to see them good. I do. I think that they're a solid team, and like I said, that's going to be the next FBS school, man. I'm telling you, they're going to move up. Conference USA needs to pick them up now.
Yep, we'll see.
I'll tell you, I was rooting for Northern Colorado because they were having some success early on, but it seems like that success is running out. Um, so hopefully next year, hopefully they do a little bit better. But man, that's just one of those schools that used to be like a powerhouse in Division II, moved up to the D1 rankings, and have just haven't done too much.
Exactly. Well, Troy, do you have any final remarks before we sign off?
No, guys, just continue to like our page, share our content. We need to kind of revisit and do some stuff on YouTube to kind of make this stand out a little bit more. But man, we're having fun doing this, and we hope to continue to be more involved. It's just sometimes life gets in the way,
Yeah.
and it's been just been kind of hectic. I know I was poking fun at Chris this last go around. I really wish he was there when Aiden was there, but we had a good time, and we'll bring on some more guests in the future. So we're looking forward to it. I think it was a really good segment, besides me having some very negative technical difficulties there. So, and then Chris loved forgetting to edit the last part of that out, but oh well, we'll move forward.
Hey, sometimes things happen. But awesome, Troy. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching this episode, and please tune in for this Friday. We are going to try to have a prediction show for Saturday's games, so please tune in Friday. Take care.